Hey everybody, it's Carrie from Stamp with CT. Today I have a fun video for you. This is the make and take projects from our Fitting Florets Bingo in November of 2022. So I had a couple of participants that needed a video of the make and takes rather than doing them during the event. So I thought it would be fun just to share it with everyone, and it would kind of give you some insight into how we do our bingo projects. So for bingo, those that registered, they received a make and take packet with everything that they needed to make the projects. They just needed to add either the stamp set that I'm featuring or something from their collection that's similar, and then some adhesive, bone folder snips, just kind of standard supplies when creating projects. And then I'm just using Night of Navy ink to make this kind of an easy process on each of the projects, but there's lots of different colors that you can pair with these projects. So the way that bingo works is when you register, it's really kind of a card class. And so we do our projects, but then we also play 6 rounds of bingo for awesome Stampin' Up! Prizes. So it's lots of fun. So maybe next time you can join us. But for those that did participate this time, we're going to go ahead and do the make and take project so they can complete their packet. So we are using the Fitting Florets collection, and this collection, Stampin' Up! Kind of released it early, one of the bundles from the new mini catalog that will launch in January of 2023. And then it also had some coordinating products with it, and one of them is these awesome adhesive back swirls, and they did already sell out. These are while supplies last, and they're already gone, but those that participated in bingo, I have your back, and so you got a package in your goodie bag. Then there's also a stamp set that coordinates with this that's more along the lines of holiday sentiments, and it's really a cute sentiment set, and it is a red rubber set. Oops, I have some pieces in here. I like to do that. If I have spare pieces, keep them in the stamp case so that the next time I go to use this, I'll try to use up these little bits that I have. So that's sentiments only. And then this bundle that we're using that will actually be in the upcoming mini catalog, it is a combination of images and sentiments. It is photopolymer. So you'll see as we use these sentiments, these are clear stamps. And then it has a die set that coordinates with it. Now these dies, they're really awesome, and there's just lots that you can do as far as the layering and the way that the frames cut out. Really, really fun. So we'll be using those as well. Now there is a designer series paper. This will not be part of the mini catalog, so it is available right now while supplies last. And I only have a small scrap of this piece left, but I still wanted to share with you because the pattern of the floral images and then also this B side, just so very pretty. So there's several pieces that I don't have a full sheet, but beautiful colors with the soft succulent evening evergreen, polished pink, and then also petal pink. There's balmy blue. Oops. Oh, I thought I had the same page again. But you can see just really pretty patterns. There's that polished pink. And then we've also got Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. So beautiful floral images on this side. Really, really pretty paper. So that's a little bit more holiday. So very pretty paper. And again, this is while supplies last. And the last time that I looked, it was still available. So 12 by 12 paper pack, 2 sheets of each. Okay, let's jump into our projects. Now, I did say we're going to be using Night of Navy ink for each of the sentiments. And we're going to start, got all the pieces cut. So if you've not ever played bingo with us or done one of my classes, this is how I do things, to where we have all the pieces cut. Let me look for a bone folder right quick. And we send that to you all packaged up, nice and cute, and that way it's ready for you to make your project. So we've got a polished pink card base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and we'll just burnish this down. I like to run that across that cut edge as well. And then there's going to be two pieces that are 5 1/4 by 4 inches. One is going to layer on the front, one's going to layer inside. And then we do have just a little strip of designer series paper, trying to make sure I don't lose any of my little bits. And it's just going to be an accent on the inside here. So it does not look straight, but I'm still going to go ahead and use this piece. Just a little scrap. Let's find my glue. And I'll go ahead and add this. Just another little bit of interest since my piece is not exactly straight, but that's okay. When I add a piece to the inside, I do like to leave just a very small little border of white at the bottom. I just like the way that looks, but of course you could bring that all the way down to the bottom if you want to. Now we'll just add this inside panel. I like to use the basic white just to finish off the project, give it a finished look, but also to be able to write my message easier. Get that centered. Okay, now this is a super simple card, y'all, but it is really, really cute. So then we have this piece that's going to layer on our basic white on the outside. Now what is so fun is we used one of the frames from the die set to cut this out. Now it cut all these little hearts and the oval in one pass through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So isn't that fun? We're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. And the way I'm going to do this, there's a couple different ways you could, is I'm just going to kind of line this up and just kind of eyeball it. Now, if you have a pencil handy, you could also take your pencil and lightly trace around that oval. And that would show you exactly where to stamp. And then you can come in with an eraser and remove the excess pencil lines. But, you know, I'm not known to be the most patient person in the world, so I'm just going to go with it. You know why? Because cardstock has 2 sides, and I'm going to get 2 chances. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my sentiment up a little bit from the bottom. I want a little bit of room for another little element for this card. Another die cut piece. Let me see about my stamping. I think that looks pretty good, y'all. So let's go ahead. Close that ink pad up so I don't make a mess. And I'll move this out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and add some dimensionals to the corners. You may be able to hear my family in the background. We had our Thanksgiving today. I'm actually recording this video on Saturday. And it was just so nice to all be together. I think I'm just going to go in the corners with those dimensionals. So I thought I'm going to leave the door cracked so I can hear them. They're in the kitchen right now. We're doing a little Christmas project. My husband and daughter and son-in-law are working on that. So in case you hear a little bit of noise, that's my family, and that just makes me happy. Okay, so now we've got this piece that has been die cut, and this has been cut from a glitter paper, a glimmer paper that comes in a red and white package from our holiday catalog. And so it's nice and shiny, and I want to add this down here. And it is just going to be white on white, but I think that the shine still is just so pretty. So my computer is making funny noises. Sorry about that, y'all. Just going to add this little sprig here. with a glue dot. And I told you, this is a super simple project, but I just think it's so cute, and I love the colors that we're using. And we do have some polished pink ribbon, and this is the open weave ribbon. It's been in our catalog now for almost 2 years, about a year and a half. It's in the in colors from 2021 to 2023. Try that bow one more time. And just really, really pretty ribbon, fun to work with. Got a little bit of shine to it. Just fun ribbon. I'm making it look harder than what it is to tie a bow. Our weather has cooled down a little bit, and that means a little bit more trouble with arthritis in my hands. So just have to keep working with it. Get my bow zhuzhed. And then we'll use another glue dot to add that at the base of the sprig. It's pretty much right where the other one. Isn't that sweet, y'all? I love this card. Now we're just going to come over. I don't know why that's not wanting to behave and cooperate. We'll work on it one more time. That's better. Just going to come over and now add this to the card front. And we will be done with card number 1. So I usually try to keep the projects for bingo. Usually do a couple of more simple projects, and then we do 1 or 2 that are a little bit more stepped up. So usually 4 projects. And this really gives you a chance to see that beautiful die in action. I love this one. All those little hearts. And I'll tell you a funny story. I put those hearts because I prepped for bingo. So for lots of people, prepped all their supplies. So we have a little bag, a clear envelope full of hearts. And what did I do? I spilled them all over my desk, all over the floor. So there's our first project. I love it. Okay, let's move on to our next one. So again, all of the supplies have already been prepped and cut. And again, this is a very straightforward card, but super cute. So this time we have a top folding card that's 11 inches by 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. I'll get that right. And then we've got a piece of basic white cardstock that will go on the inside again. And this time I didn't use a little scrap to decorate the inside. You certainly could, or you could use one of the images in the stamp set to add a little bit of interest that way. Pretty much equal borders all the way around. And I'm going to go ahead still with that Night of Navy theme. And do my stamping. Let me make sure all the pieces are still here. It looks like they are. Let me get rid of that little bit of pink ribbon that we don't need anymore. And like I said, I could have used a different color for stamping, but I try to keep this as simple as possible, and people be able to substitute supplies if they need to. See how we did there. I'm off just a tiny bit, but we're going to go with it. So I think this is a beautiful sentiment. Thank you with all my heart. Very sweet sentiment. And now what we're going to do, we took a piece of designer series paper and went ahead and cut one of the oval dies out. So in the process of doing that, we have this frame that lines up with our designer series paper. And I'm looking to make sure, yes, this is the way this goes. So we've got this piece that lines up with our designer series paper. And then of course, one of the scraps from that would be the oval from the center that lines up with the designer series paper. And I actually use these pieces that cut from the center to make the tags. I always put a tag on each package. The prizes, I packaged those up so that those look cute as well. So I just repurposed that and used up that scrap. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to glue this down, adhere this down to our card base. And I think I probably told you this is Evening Evergreen. Such a gorgeous color. This is one of the 2021 to 2023 in colors. And so in about 6 months, if Stampin' Up! Does what it normally does and retires colors, it will be going away. And I'm already starting to mourn losing Evening Evergreen. It has been such a gorgeous green for us in our product line. Really, really pretty. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pop this oval in, and I'm going to adhere it down as well. So you can see you do end up with some little scraps, you know, some little extra bits when you use these, because of course the outside frame from this die cut was left. Use that soft succulent. The outside frame from this die cut was left, but I'll use it on another project. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to pop this piece up. So that's going to give that a really cool effect. Now, what we may have to do, because a Stampin' Dimensional is not going to fit, and I probably should have grabbed some mini dimensionals, but you know, you can cut a regular dimensional in half as well. Minis probably would have made this process easier, but that's not what I did. So we're just going to go with it. So I'm just going to need to cut a couple of dimensionals in half to add this frame. You could also use the border of your dimensionals, or I like to call them the bones. But I've already used the bones off of this dimensional pack. And for the purpose of just saving a little bit of time, that's all I'm going to put on there, but you could certainly add more if you want to. And then we're going to pop this frame right over our sentiment. Okay. And then I know I have a little sprig, a little gold sprig cut from gold foil paper. And I think that I'm going to again add it towards the bottom. So we will need our glue dots again. I think just the way I stamped. Now I think it would be pretty over on the side as well, but whatever you like. If you're creating these along with me, or if you have these supplies or something similar, you just do it the way that you like it. Some of it's going to depend on how you stamped. I'm just going to add that there. And then we also, in our packet, have some of the, oops, that's still the polished pink. I want some of the soft succulent ribbon. And we will again tie a bow. And I just realized I didn't put any embellishments on that first card. And I really think it's probably fine, just like it is. Could probably go back and put some, but we will definitely add some to this project. Okay. So this is that same open weave ribbon, just in soft succulent. Really pretty. And we'll come right down there to the base of that sprig. Uh-oh, the sprig got flipped around, that one little piece. That's better. Okay. So this time, let me grab those swirls. And again, these embellishments are sold out, but of course, Stampin' Up! Has lots of gorgeous embellishments that we can use to add a little bit of accent. I just really like these because there's something different that we haven't had before. Not that I remember. I've been a demonstrator almost 10 years, y'all. Can you believe that? Wow, time flies when you are having fun. That is for sure. And I think I'm just going to put one right there. Maybe even move it over a tiny bit. And maybe a couple down here. I like that. Just adds a little bit more interest, a little bit more accent, brings out the gold from that pretty leaf. So what a fun project. So that is card number 2. And let's move on to number 3. Now again, this is a straightforward project, and it is a bookbinder card. So if you have never made one before, this is an awesome, fun layout. And it just opens like a book. So I've got 2 different score lines here. I'm just going to make sure to burnish both. And then what you do is in between these 2 score lines, you add a nice strong adhesive. So either our liquid glue, tear and tape, which is what I'm going to use, or maybe some Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus, because you want this part to stay closed. And I went off the edge just a little bit, but it's going to be okay because I can fold that back. Tear and tape is awesome because you can actually apply it and then tear it. I used to use some tape, double-sided tape that you did have to cut. And this is just so handy to be able to tear it. So once I've burnished that tear and tape down, I'm going to pull the backing off with the piercing in with my Take Your Pick tool. Such an awesome tool. I'm going to fold that little bit of adhesive back that's hanging over the edge and close this. And there's the train, y'all. Burnish that again, and now I have my bookbinding card. So we are ready to add our piece to the inside. We've got a 4x4 piece of basic white cardstock. This just makes a really nice little area to write your message. Just a 4x4 piece of basic white. So this is such a fun card if you're making a card for a child, really anybody of any age. I just think it's a fun, cute little fold. You could certainly, again, decorate the inside if you want to. Now we've got this piece of designer series paper, and we're going to add it to the front. So all of a sudden, I started using a lot of glue. And we're just decorating the book part, not the binder yet. So when that opens, it's just this part that has this designer series paper. Then we've got a little strip of designer series paper to go over here. Doesn't that look cute together? But before we do that, I want to again use some ribbon, and I'm going to bring in some Scotch tape. Just make a little cheater method here and use my soft succulent. Now you can adhere this piece down, bring your ribbon all the way around and tie it in the front if you want to, but I really like to just adhere my ribbon to the back with a little bit of tape. But you do what works best for you. If you're using the packet, you have plenty of ribbon to run it all the way around if you want to, if that's what you prefer to do. I'm just going to bring this across that little gingham. And use my paper snips to snip the edge. Add another little piece of tape right there at the back to catch that. Oops, I didn't catch it. I don't want to pull that too tight. Try that again. Another little piece of tape. Catch that edge this time. It's not wanting to cooperate. There we go. It's got a little piece of that tape peeking out. Like I said, if you want to run it all the way around, you can. I'm going to trim this little tiny bit of tape off the edge. Okay. Now I'm ready to glue this over to my binding part of the card. I think this paper is so pretty. I love pretty paper. That's situated. And then the other thing about doing it that way, rather than bringing the ribbon all the way around, is I can tie a separate bow and I can make it lay down better and just cooperate better than if I was trying to tie it while it was attached to the card. I just feel like that's easier, but again, if you just have mad bow tying skills and you can wrap it all the way around and do that, you go for it. So go ahead and bring those tails down and together and trim this piece off. We're almost done with this card as well. And that way, we'll bring those glue dots in again. Gosh, we're really using our glue dots today. Get my bow situated. And I tend to use 2 glue dots when I'm adding a bow, just for that added security. And then I can add this here. And it looks like I really need to come in with my Take Your Pick tool or the end of my snips. Probably the Take Your Pick tool is better. And I'm going to pick up a glue dot and come underneath the ribbon to just really make sure that stays secure. Okay, so here we are so far. We've still got just a little bit to do, and one of those things is to do our stamping. Oops, I got little tails of ribbon. Let me move this ribbon out of the way. Now you can see why I said Night of Navy just goes so well with all of these projects. So that's just what I went with. See how that looks. That wasn't great. Let's flip it over and try it again. Paper has 2 sides, right? I think that is better, but still a little bit crooked, but we're going to go with it. Let me see if I can fit that stamp over there on my chamois to clean. And we're going to adhere this down. And you could do the same thing again if you want to. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is the side I want to apply my glue. You can decide if you want to pop up your frame like we did earlier, if you just want to glue it down. Either way, it's going to look cute. Because then we have our frame that's going to come around and just really accentuate that sentiment. I'm just going to add a couple little dots of glue. And I love the way that this die embosses into the frame. So cool. Such a bit of interest to really make it special. And that is it, you guys. That's all we're going to do on this project. We're keeping it simple as well. But of course, we can come in with some embellishments. Add some swirls. Let me see here. I think I definitely want one here. Maybe one up here at the top, where there's kind of a little darker area. And then maybe even, let me look at it again. Maybe even one right here. I'll bring it down just a tiny bit. Oh, that was 3. No, I picked up, there it is. So that's our bookbinder card. Super fun, isn't it? And we've got a little space to do exactly what it says, just a little reminder that you are loved. Really, really sweet sentiment. And we've got one last project, y'all. And this one, like I said, we usually do some simple projects, and then we have something that's just a little bit extra special. I've got these tiny little leaves. I'm going to set them aside so that I don't lose them. I want to use them, not lose them. And we got lots of pieces. So we are starting with the balmy blue card base. Now this is 11 by 4¼ scored at 5½. And then I just put it in the paper trimmer and went from the score line to the edge of the card front to cut that on the diagonal. So this is a really fun fold that I had not seen in a very long time. And then we're just going to start layering. We've got so much that we're going, oops, sorry, that sounded like maybe something fell in the kitchen. But this has lots of layers and lots of fun. We're using lots of designer series paper, colors, just so pretty. So you've just got a small border here on this piece of basic white, and then this is our inside panel. I'm going to put it inside here. And get our borders all the way around. Didn't do a great job with that, did I? That's better. Let's work to get that centered. And then we've got this piece, and it is cut at 8 inches by 3 inches, scored at 4 inches. So we've got the fold, and I'll go ahead and burnish this. And I want to put adhesive on the back. And because this is a mechanism that's going to be opened, I want to make sure that I use plenty, a little bit more liquid glue than normal. I'm going to center this on our piece of designer series paper. So just really getting this lined up as best you can with the equal borders all the way around. Okay, you with me so far? Now we've got these pieces, and these are going to, as you probably already figured out, layer on the front of the card. But I want to bring this piece of designer series paper all the way up, butted up against this edge. So let's add just a little bit of liquid glue, doing just a really light coating across the edges. And I'm going to make sure that it is right up against that edge, because it's a very, very small border on the bottom and the side of the basic white. I don't think I have mine exactly in place. So just work with it. The one good thing, or one of the good things about liquid glue is it gives you time to zhuzh it a little bit. I probably could have moved mine up a tiny bit, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. And we're going to do the same thing again this time, and we're going to bring this whole piece up against this cut line. Because we want the border to be on that outer edge. and the bottom. And what that does by doing that is it helps to mimic what we have over here. Okay, we'll let this part dry for just a minute. And goodness, I've gotten liquid glue on my fingers. Let me see if I can get just a little bit of that off. And one last thing that we need to do, because this piece is actually going to fold over this little triangle piece. And we've got yet another sentiment. Grab my piercing mat one last time. And we'll go ahead and do our stamping. So lucky to call you friend. Another sweet sentiment. Just moving that over to my chamois here. And we're actually going to mount this onto this piece. So let's again use a little liquid glue, or whatever adhesive of your choice. And you just want to center this on that 3x4 piece of balmy blue cardstock. And then again, if you want to pop this frame up, you certainly can. Or you can adhere it down. And I'm just going to put those little dots of glue again and adhere mine down. And that just really mats your sentiment. It makes it look extra special, doesn't it? Just work with it until you get it right into place. Just a really pretty little frame. Well, earlier I set aside my leaves so I wouldn't lose them, and it looks like I may have lost them. I surely did. I bet I brushed them off of the table with my sweater sleeves. So we will just forego the leaves on this project. But I do still want to come in with some of the soft succulent ribbon. Let me find it. And make a little bow again. Yep, I sure did. I lost my leaves. And in your packet, you will have a couple of evening evergreen leaves that you can add. And I'll probably go cut myself some more because they're really cute and they look nice on this project. I think I'm going to bring this right over here. The glue dot. And add it to the bottom of the frame. And of course, we will bring in those swirls and add a couple of them as well. or at least one. Oops. I love sticking to your finger. Okay, so that is our last project. Let me go ahead and bring those other ones back in that we've worked on. Just to remind you. Of the projects from the Fitting Florets Bingo. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, whether you were a participant in bingo or if you are just watching and want to use supplies that you have in your collection to create something similar. Thanks so much. See you next time. Oliver, what did Mommy do with the leaves? Huh?